Good evening. So this evening's practice is going to be totally chilling out. And I've got 2 blocks, a blanket, and a yoga bolster. If you don't have a bolster, that's totally fine. You can get a stack of more blankets or towels. You might be able to use like a cushion for your couch or even just pillows from your couch. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can use just a folded firm blanket that kind of is the same shape and size as a yoga block. And really our intention is to just give our bodies some permission to relax. So we're going to do a yin practice, which is just timed long holds and passive restorative poses. And at the end, we'll have a beautiful guided relaxation or seated meditation. You get to choose how you want to be positioned at the end. But we're going to start with just kind of some support for our neck. We're just going to kind of go through the whole body here. So I'm going to give you some options to set up, and then you'll get set up and I'll set the timer and we'll stay here for a little while. So option number 1 is I've got these 2 blocks and I've got one kind of the long way along my mat, and then I'm putting the other one diagonal. So it rests here, and I'm actually going to pad this lower one with my blanket. So this is option number 1 if you have 2 blocks. So I'm going to take the long block between my shoulder blades and just lay with kind of that ridge at the base of my skull on the edge, on the very edge of this diagonal block. And just let it totally support my skull and just kind of get a little bit of traction for my neck. Can feel really good. So that's the 2 block option. If you only have 1 block, I'm going to encourage you to actually just put it this direction. Okay, and lay on the floor with that same ridge at the base of your skull on the edge of the block. There. So you just got that support for the back of your head, the base of your skull, and a little bit of traction to passively lengthen and relax through your neck. So that's option number 2. If you don't even have a yoga block, you can take your blanket, towel, and just really firmly roll it. And then just lay with that same ridge of the base of your skull on the firm ridge of that roll. So you'll get a different kind of pressure on your skull. It won't be quite the same concentrated pressure with a soft rolled thing, but you still can get some support for the back of your head, the base of your skull, and just think about relaxing your neck. So set yourself up wherever you have the props available and let yourself get comfortable. Arrange your legs in a way that feels supportive for your spine. So you can have legs straight or knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and let your knees knock together if you've got your knees bent. Let's see, I need to really scoot up here. Just find some support for your head. Play with your props until you get yourself comfortable. I'm rocking around. Just let yourself get set up. Just bring your awareness to your breath. And just notice where it wants to come in. So you can invite your breath in through your nose and out of your nose. And just allow the props underneath you to be a cradle that really supports you, that you can surrender into. And you can just say in your mind, I give myself permission to completely trust and relax. And you can support that relaxation by letting your exhale get longer than your inhale. I'm sorry about the phone ringing. And really just kind of let yourself let go of your day. If you feel like you need to adjust, you can adjust. But notice what happens if you just allow yourself to stay. To notice the feelings of restlessness, just observe them and allow yourself to stay. Notice the sensations in your head. You can feel your scalp and the back of your head. Notice your forehead and your eyes. See if you can let those relax. Notice what's happening in your jaw, your tongue, and your throat. So you can let the tip of your tongue just rest softly behind your top front teeth. Let your tongue be soft and your throat feel open. And notice the relaxing quality of your exhale. And feel the space through your chest. And let your palms face up wherever you are. Really allowing yourself to be receptive. And go ahead and lift your head. Make your way up off of your props. You can roll to one side. Just push yourself up. We'll move to an armpit opener, or kind of more of a release. So if you just have a blanket, find your rolled blanket, lay it on your mat, and then lay down with that roll in your armpit. We'll start with our right side. And you'll just lay, you can rest your head in your hands and just lay there. If you have a block, then you can use a block. It'll be a little more intense there for the pressure in your armpit. So just arrange yourself so your pelvis is stacked. You've got the block underneath that right armpit or your blanket roll. And you might want to roll forward and back a little bit. Just find the place that you think you can stay. And you can just say in your mind, I give myself permission to completely relax. Or you can even say, I deeply wish to release any unnecessary tension. Inhale through your nose. And then let your exhale be long and slow out of your nose. Relax your head in your hand. Let your gaze just go to a place that is easy for your neck. And just notice how time changes the experience of being here. Just be here for a few more seconds. And go ahead and use that left hand in front of you to kind of push yourself up. You can lift your head up out of your hand and just find a comfortable cross-legged seat. And take that right arm up into a cactus. And then you can kind of find a side bend. And then draw that elbow down toward your rib cage and kind of behind you. And just floss through, just find movement in any way that feels good in that arm. Just one more. You can kind of twist, reach forward, reach back. And then take that right arm out to the right, internally rotate. So now your palm is facing behind you, your thumb is facing down. Bend that elbow and bring it to your left lower back. And then just drop your left ear towards your left shoulder and just let this left arm do whatever it wants to do. And just release the length of that right side of your neck. And take one more breath like that. And then just gently dial your chin toward your left shoulder. And then you can tuck your chin a little. Breathe there. And then lift your chin, unwind your head, release that right arm out from behind you, and you can find some circles through your shoulders, and then just find stillness here as you sit and notice the difference between one side and the other. Notice the difference between your right and left sides. We'll go ahead and do that on the other side. So roll the blanket or block will go under your left armpit this time. Use your head as a support, or you'll put your hand in your head in your hand, sorry. And just use that right hand in front of you. Knees are bent, pelvis is stacked. You can rock forward and back. Just find a place that feels sustainable in that left armpit. And breathe. It might feel totally different on this side. You probably feel, some trigger points there, right? There's a lot of tissue in our armpits. We've got lymph nodes, and lots of connective tissue and breast tissue. This release is so beneficial. Notice if there's any part of you that's kind of tensing or resisting the prop underneath you. See if you can let go of that resistance. Let your gaze go in a place that's really comfortable for your neck. And notice how the sensations change over time. We've got to give our tissues a little bit of time to adapt, and this different kind of load and pressure is really good information for our cells. Right? Load is the language of the cells. So the kind of stress that's put on them gives them information to be resilient and to build strength, or to hydrate more, to find more flow. Go ahead and release your head out of your hands. Use your hands to push yourself up to that comfortable cross-legged position. And take your left arm out into a cactus this time, and then just reach it overhead, and then draw that elbow by your rib cage. And just reach, you're just going to reach that arm and then bend your elbow, and just do it in a few different angles. Doesn't have to be exactly the same every time. But you can feel your shoulder blade move on your back. And then take that left arm out, internally rotate your shoulder. So now your palm is facing back. Bend that elbow, bring the back of your left hand to your lower right back, and then drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Lengthen your exhale. And just feel all of that softening through that right shoulder. Sorry, your left shoulder. And then you can dial your chin toward your right shoulder and tuck your chin just a little. Find an angle, like a line of tension through that neck that feels useful. And then go ahead and lift your chin, unwind your head, unwind that left arm. Just find your seat, and close your eyes, and just check in again, noticing one side compared to the other. Do a couple more shoulder things. We're going to come down and lay on our bellies. I'm going to start with my right arm straight out to the right. Okay, I'm gonna bring my my right cheek to the floor. So I'm looking to the left and just bringing my left hand alongside the left side of my chest and then rolling onto my right hip. And then maybe even bringing my right toes, maybe my right foot to the floor. So we've got this twist here, opening through the front of that right shoulder, right chest. And again, notice if you're bringing any tension into your body anywhere. See if you can just kind of let yourself adapt to this position and relax. I've still got a little bit of effort in that left hand just to hold me in the twist. Feel the sensation through that right arm. There may be some tingling or some warmth. And your twist can be any amount, so you don't even have to bring that left leg all the way over. Really let those exhales be long. Let go of any tension in your face or your jaw. And know that we're not here forever. Roll yourself back onto your belly. And then lengthen your left arm out in front of you and kind of use some leverage to lift your chest up. And now thread that right arm underneath your left armpit, palm face up. And you can let yourself lay on top of that right arm, just stretching the outer shoulder. So, see. So, arm straight forward, this right arm just underneath. You can let yourself just take a couple of breaths here. And come on out of that. We'll do the other side. So left arm straight out to the left, left cheek on the floor looking to your right, right hand tented next to your chest. And then we'll roll onto that left side, any amount. So it may just be this much. You may step those right toes behind you to your left. Notice where you're bringing any tension. I really feel myself wanting to clench my jaw. Find tension in that right shoulder. See if you can just let go. In the classes lately, we've been focusing a lot on strength, which is so important. But a practice like this just is for our nervous system. It's for all of our connective tissue, all the fascia, to really compress and move it in different ways so that it has some time to adapt It's really good for the hydration of those tissues. This long holds, this yin practice. Roll onto your belly. And then lengthen that right arm straight out in front of you. Kind of lift your chest and then thread your left arm underneath. And then you can fold over that left tricep any amount. And wiggle your way out of that. And make your way into table. And just start in your table by just making some circles with your body. Just circle around one direction and then you can circle the other way. And then just let your movements be really intuitive. Just kind of listen to what your body is craving. You might want to find some extension and flexion of your spine in cat and cow. It might feel good to change the position of your wrists. And just get into that. You could find some circles of your pelvis, C shapes of your spine. Just take a few more breaths to just let it be really intuitive here. And then walk your hands back towards your knees. Just come to kneeling. So we're going to do toe stretch, which can be pretty intense. So we're going to do 1 foot at a time. And I actually have socks on because it's kind of cold, but I think I'll take my socks off for this part. But I might want them back on when we relax. So I want you to have your block kind of available for you back by your sitting bones. I'm going to step my left foot forward first, kind of into a low lunge. Okay. And then I'm going to tuck my right toes under and then sit back on my block and bring some weight into my heel. Now, if that just gets to be too much, right, I could stay here and this could be my stretch for my toes. All my right toes are tucked under. I'm stretching that plantar fascia on the bottom of that right foot. So it could be here. I could even just be here with those toes tucked. Okay. Or sitting back on that heel and I'm sitting on my block, my left hip and sitting bone are on my block. And we're going to hold this for a couple of minutes. And so just breathe. You can smile into those toes. And really think of nurturing all of those tissues. Notice if you feel restless. Just tell your body that it's okay. You're supported here. You're supported. If you need to lean forward more or bring weight out of that foot, feel free. It's totally available to you. But know that you can handle the intensity. The slow, passive, nourishing holds are okay for your body. And notice where you feel sensation most. I'm feeling it in my shin, the front of my foot, my ankle. And take a deep breath in through your nose. And slow, long breath out through your nose. And then go ahead and lean forward off of that right foot and tuck your toes. You can find whatever wiggles you need that foot. I'm going to bring my block forward and step my left foot out toward the left edge of my mat. So we're coming into a lizard lunge. If you want to pad your back knee, that right knee with a blanket, you can bring your folded blanket under. I've got my block here. Turn so you can see what I'm doing. So my right leg's back, my left leg's forward. I've got my block inside of that left foot, and you can turn your left toes to the left. We're going to come down onto forearms, either on your block. They could come to the floor if you have some kind of support. If you don't have a block, you can just stay on your hands. It can get tiring for your wrists, so that's why it's nice to come onto your forearms. And untuck those back toes so you can lengthen through the top of that right ankle. And for the first little while, find a little bit of engagement by feeling like you're dragging your right knee forward and your left heel back a little bit. Lengthen through your spine there and just kind of feel the integrity in your body to support you. And then from that place of support, you can start to relax. Notice what's happening in your face and your jaw. Relax through your pelvic floor and just notice the relationship of your mouth, the relaxation of your jaw, and the relaxation of your pelvic floor here. And just one more breath. And then go ahead and come back up onto your hands and make your way to your table again. Find that intuitive movement, whatever your body might be calling for. I'm going to do some pelvic circles here. And we'll do that toe stretch on the other side. So have your block handy or your stack of folded blankets, something to sit on. I'm going to step my right foot forward. Great. And then tuck all 5 of those left toes. And then you can sit back on your block. You can stay kind of more in your lunge here, right? The further your hips are back, the more load there will be on those toes. And we'll stay. So I've got my block at my medium height, and it's just under my right thigh. As I stretch through those left toes. Right, and if I kind of lean toward that left foot, I'm getting more load on that left foot. If I lean more onto the block on my right side, there's a little less load. And just start to discern the difference between sensation, maybe even discomfort, and pain. And if we're experiencing pain, it needs to come out. But intense sensation is something you can handle. Relax your face and smile into the bottom of that left foot. Notice how the sensation changes over time. And for me, it certainly starts in the bottom of my foot and my toes, but the longer I hold, the more it is in the front, on top of my foot, in front of my ankle and shin. And take a long breath out. And go ahead and lean forward. Bring your block with you inside of that right foot and untuck those left toes. So now we're in our lizard lunge. So right toes toward the right edge of your mat. The block is inside that right foot. Find a nice place for that left knee and untuck those left toes. And then come down onto your forearms on your block or a stool. Stack blankets. And start with a little bit of engagement, feeling like you're pulling your knees toward each other. Right knee back, left knee forward. Lengthen a little bit through your heart. Find some length in the back of your neck so you're not craning to look forward. Let the spine be neutral. And then with that support found, just let yourself relax into this. Noticing the difference between your right hip and your left. You're going to feel the blood flow going back into that left foot. And inhaling through your nose. Long, slow exhale through your nose. And really let yourself breathe 360 degrees around your rib cage. ahead and bring your hands back to the floor. Come back into a table. Find that movement of your spine here. Cat and cow, circles, pelvic movement from side to side. It may even feel good here to find a downward facing dog. Just notice your feet and ankles here. And then bring your knees to the floor. We're going to find, call it deer pose in yin yoga, but it's almost 90-90, but things are pretty closed up. So my right foot's coming to my left inner thigh, and then my left knee is bent and my top of my left foot is to the floor. I've got a bolster, so I'm going to use my bolster, but we're going to find a twist here. If you don't have a bolster, you can take blocks and a stack of folded blankets. You want this to be plenty high because we're just going to twist to the right and lay down here. Okay, so you've got this internal rotation of that left thigh, and you're going to twist through your spine and just relax down. But let it be high enough that you really feel supported. So this may be where you grab some cushions off of your couch. So set yourself up. With your support. And I just like to close my eyes here. And give yourself permission to completely relax. I deeply wish to let go of any unnecessary tension. Notice what's happening in your shoulders, where you may be fighting a twist. And see if you can breathe into your low ribs, your back body. Relax your jaw. And then we'll just make our way to the other side. Use your arm strength to push yourself up. And I'm actually going to move my props to the other side, but you can just switch which hip is against your bolster or your stack of blankets. So left foot to your right inner thigh, just top of right foot to the floor. Okay, and then this prop is against that left hip. I'm going to twist to your left and let yourself lay down on your prop. Let yourself relax into your hips. And breathe space into your lower back. And deeply wish to let go of any unnecessary tension. Notice what's happening in your neck and shoulders and face. You can let your belly relax, and pelvic floor relax. And let yourself have lots of space for your breath. With those long exhales. Push yourself up from your twist. We've got one last pose before our guided meditation. So you can have your folded blanket or your bolster. We're going to do a supported bridge. So I'm going to have my bolster kind of off to the side. Lay down on your back, feet hip distance apart. You can have your blocks handy. I prefer something a little softer, so you could even take a block with a blanket stacked on top of it. Lift your hips and just bring your support underneath your sacrum. And it may take a few iterations. I'm going to grab my blanket also to decide how high you want it. But just let yourself feel really supported. I'm going to go stack my blanket on top also. Just let yourself have enough support under your pelvis that you feel that extension in the front of your hips. And this is our last 2-minute hold. So after you've been a few breaths with your knees bent, if it feels like it would be a nice opening to let your legs walk away from you, your feet walk away, and your legs be straighter. You can do that. Just let your pelvis be, think of your pubic bone being the highest point. And then you can relax. And just notice how here, with your heart open, your soft belly totally exposed, you are safe. Just give yourself permission to relax. And feel the relaxation of your neck, your shoulders, your upper arms, and your lower arms and hands. And feel the freedom that you have in your breath. The support under your pelvis. Your legs are straight. Find that bend in your knees wherever you are. Just lift your hips and move your props out from underneath you. Bring your pelvis down to the floor. Take your feet as wide as your mat and just let your knees knock together. Take a breath or two there. And then we'll set up for our final relaxation. Bring yourself up. And you can either sit, so find some support under your sitting bones, so that you're sitting up tall with a tall spine, or you can lay on your bolster or stacked blankets with some support underneath your head and your spine. So I kind of made a T with my blocks and then set the bolster on top of it. Okay, so it's not as extreme as what we started with. I want you to be really comfortable and supported. So this is my favorite, just to lay here. And you can find like a rolled blanket under your knees. And just let yourself lay. You can bring hands to your belly, hands along your sides, whatever feels comfortable for the length of your arms. If you want to just sit and meditate in a seated position, just find some height underneath your pelvis so that you can find the natural curve of your lower back. You feel supported to be tall, and your hips feel supported, and your tailbone's not tucking underneath you. And take a deep breath in through your nose. And then let your exhale be as long and slow as it possibly can. And just feel how your body has the freedom now to completely release and relax. And notice how receptive you are. Mind a beautiful place in the heart of the woods. There's a clearing with green grass, a small pond. Just take a moment to notice the blue sky overhead and the quality of the light. And really let yourself feel that wash over you. And as you look across the pond, you see a little cottage in the woods. And then walk over there to that cottage. And just knock on the door. And as the door is opened, you realize that the inhabitant there is your future self. You, your most wise, kind, evolved version of you. You invite yourself in. I want you just to look at your future self 20 or 30 years down the road. You can greet her, but really take her in. What is she wearing? What does she look like? How does she stand? What does it feel like to be in her presence? And the two of you take a comfortable seat. Perhaps she offers you something to drink. And then ask her, what do I need to be most aware of to get me from where I am now to where you are? What would be most helpful for me to know? And just listen to her answer. You can ask her any other questions that you have. And then thank her for being here with you today. And exchange some goodbyes. And you see yourself out of the door back into the clearing. And with that warm light, that beautiful scene. And just notice the quality of energy that visit has left you with. What sense or emotion can you hold from that exchange? See if you can notice where you feel that in your body. Where it expands to. And bring your awareness back to your breath in this present time. We've been talking about faith this month. the trusting nature of it, the creative power. It's so important to have this clear seeing of who you are and your potential. Because that most wise, free, evolved version of you is a part of you now. And having that vision allows you to live into it. Wherever you are, whether you're seated or laying down, just bring one hand onto your heart, stack the other on top. And just feel that nurturing touch, the warmth of being in your body. This time that you've had to really nurture your nervous system, your tissues. Learn to deeply rest. And that deep rest gives you access to your wisdom. Just know you have access to that at any time. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.